It was a sweltering afternoon at JFK International Airport. The terminal buzzed with the usual chaos of rushing passengers, rolling suitcases, and loudspeaker announcements. Among the crowd was 16-year-old Jamal Turner, walking briskly toward his gate. Jamal was no ordinary teenager. He was a chess prodigy with dreams of earning a full college scholarship. This trip to Chicago for the National Chess Tournament was his chance to make that dream a reality. Carrying a well-worn chessboard and a backpack, stuffed with strategy notes, Jamal boarded the plane feeling a mix of nerves and excitement. This was his first solo trip, and he was determined to stay focused. He quickly found his seat and settled in, arranging his things neatly. But from the moment he stepped on board, Jamal couldn't shake the feeling that the flight attendant, a stern-faced white woman, was watching him. Her glances weren't the friendly kind. They were sharp and cold, like she was trying to figure out why he was there. Jamal ignored it at first. He was used to people making assumptions about him. As he got comfortable, Jamal noticed the seat next to him was empty. It was the perfect spot to spread out his notes and prep for the tournament. Polite as ever, he raised his hand to get the flight attendant's attention. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said with a small smile. "Would it be all right if I moved over here? I just need a little more space to study." Her face hardened. "That seat's not available for you," she said sharply. Jamal froze. Her tone was harsh, her words deliberate. He nodded and sank back into his seat, trying to brush it off. But the uneasy feeling in his chest only grew. Minutes later, as the plane prepared for takeoff, the same flight attendant returned. This time, her expression was even more severe. "You need to gather your things and leave the plane," she said, bluntly. Jamal's stomach dropped. "Leave? Why? I haven't done anything." "You're causing a disturbance, and we can't take off with you on board," she replied, her voice loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. A wave of humiliation washed over him as heads turned to watch. He had no choice but to stand, grab his belongings, and walk off the plane under the eyes of a cabin full of strangers. In the terminal, Jamal sat alone, his heart pounding. This wasn't just about being kicked off a plane, it was about being singled out and humiliated for no reason. He had worked too hard and come too far to let this slide. With his hands shaking, Jamal pulled out his phone and typed furiously. "Just got kicked off a flight at JFK for no reason. The flight attendant accused me of causing problems just for asking to switch seats. This is racism, plain and simple. Justice for Jamal." Jamal didn't stop there. He sent the post to friends who had big social media followings, asking them to share his story. Within minutes, the post began to gain traction. Retweets, likes, and comments flooded in. By the time Jamal looked up from his phone, the hashtag number Justice for Jamal was trending locally. Inside the plane, passengers started seeing the post on their own phones. The atmosphere shifted. People whispered to each other, questioning why the boy had been removed. Some even began recording videos of the flight attendant and sharing their own accounts of what they'd witnessed. Back in the terminal, Jamal's phone buzzed nonstop. Messages of support poured in, along with questions from local reporters asking for interviews. The story was spreading like wildfire. 11 minutes after Jamal was kicked off the plane, the airline's corporate office was in crisis mode. A representative rushed to the terminal, his face flushed with stress. "Mr. Turner," the man said, his tone apologetic, "we deeply regret what happened. We're investigating the situation and will ensure this never happens again. Please allow us to book you on the next flight, all expenses covered." Jamal looked up, his expression calm but unyielding. "This isn't about getting on the next flight," he said firmly. "This is about accountability. I was kicked off for no reason, and the world knows it now." The representative's face tightened. Before he could respond, Jamal's phone buzzed again. He glanced at the screen and saw that a major celebrity had just retweeted his post. The story had gone national. Under mounting pressure, the airline issued a public apology within the hour. They acknowledged the incident was mishandled and announced that the flight attendant had been suspended pending an investigation. Jamal was placed on a flight to Chicago later that afternoon. But he wasn't just a chess player anymore. He was a symbol of the fight against racial injustice. When he arrived, reporters were waiting to talk to him, and the crowd at the tournament cheered as he walked in. Days later, Jamal competed in the tournament with renewed focus. He didn't just excel on the chessboard, he inspired everyone watching. After one of his most important matches, a reporter asked him how he managed to stay so composed. "Chess teaches you that no matter what's thrown at you, you have to stay focused on the goal," Jamal said. "But sometimes you have to fight battles off the board too." This was one of those times. Jamal's story became a rallying cry for change, a reminder that even one voice can make a difference.